Well, that was fun. Welcome into Popcorn and Beers, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. And what an exciting time to be alive, as Jordan recommends a show instead of a movie for our butter on top. So I hope you all like to binge. Josh, what are we drinking today?
Modelo, one of the best, most especial.
Oh, that's imported.
That's the theme.
Jordan, what are you drinking today?
Crystal Geyser?
Oh, okay.
What spring is that from? What village are you
Stealing water
drowning?
from the springs of Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan, okay.
And I've got a Coors Light. But all that aside, we had a busy week because we had a lot to catch up on. Well, at least one of us did. I got through all 8 hours of The Brother's Son. Josh got into it a little bit. What, 3 hours, Josh?
3 or 4. I can't remember. So I'm at least halfway through,
Okay.
I think.
That means we're going to get a great review you already can't remember. Jordan's at 6 hours.
6, yep.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's start with Josh, and I'll see how far I can go so I don't spoil it for anybody, because I actually made it through the entire series. So, Josh, so far, 3 episodes in, 4 episodes in, what are your impressions of this show? Pardon me.
I'm just real quick. I'm gonna say it's a popcorn and beer. It's pretty cool. It starts off strong, and then the idea is that there's a mom, and then there's 2 brothers. One of them's a badass, and one of them wants to be a doctor who likes improv. So he's the softie, and then they're like buddy cop, right? But it's kung fu buddy cop. It took me a little
one
while.
kung fu.
One kung fu.
One kung fu buddy cop. The other, not kung fu.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go too deep or anything because I didn't even go too deep myself. I'm only like 3 or 4 in, like you said. But it took me a little while to buy it because, like, okay, why can't he just be the badass? Do we have to have the corny brother too? Like, what is this? But it actually turned out pretty good. Each episode seems pretty well formed. I saw dinosaurs doing kung fu fighting, so I'm pretty much sold already. It's pretty solid. It's good dialogue that wears. It doesn't wear thin. The opposite. It grows on you. Little subplot. I like the churro thing. Light spoiler. I found all the characters likable. Even some of the bad guys were like kind of like that. I'm down with it. Popcorn and beer.
You found all the characters likable, huh?
Eventually.
Okay, Jordan.
Yeah. Well, from our pre-production conversation, me and Fry did not find all the characters likable. Bruce was very annoying.
Yeah, Bruce is so annoying.
Okay.
Never
but I got used to him. I guess.
It gets worse.
He was okay, but I just don't. I can't stand how he constantly has to mention. I just like improv. I just like it every time something goes wrong. I don't like this. I just like improv. Like, we get it. You're the sensitive guy. You're not, but still just just a whiny baby.
Improv, say something else.
Yeah, or use your improv skills or something. You know what I mean? Like, just
improv. You're a gangster.
Yeah.
Defenseless baby.
Yeah.
So it's a Netflix show. It's co-created by Brad Falchuk, who does the American Horror Stories and other like glam dramas for FX, or co-created. And he does a pretty good job. I haven't liked his string of recent shows that he's put on. Not to say that they're not good, they're just not really my thing. American Horror Story's been falling off. But that being said, the show just has a super hipster soundtrack sprinkled in throughout it. Could have used, I didn't love it. Kind of took me out of some moments, like just some really weird music. The brothers have good chemistry, though. I thought for how annoying Bruce is, they do have good chemistry together, as well as Michelle Yeoh. She has mom, and you know what I mean. She plays that character so perfectly. Yeah. The show. I found the show funny without trying too hard to be funny. Except for the best friend,
TK.
Yeah, he was super annoying as well.
Oh yeah,
he was trying way too hard.
You took part of my review. I was gonna say Bruce wasn't the only annoying character. You've also got his best friend TK, who is not equally as annoying, but tries real hard to be.
Yeah. The action is okay, and it's inventive at times, but for the most part, it's a lot of kung fu stuff that you've kind of seen. There's nothing that you're like, whoa, that was, I've never seen nothing like that before. Pretty copy and paste, but I give this a popcorn and 1 as well.
All right.
Popcorn and 1 across the beard. I would give it a popcorn and 1 as well. The brother that wants to be a chef is phenomenal, I think, as far as his character is played. I thought he did a really great job. He really saves the show in a lot of areas. I loved, and I wish her character's arc was a little bit better throughout the show, but the drug dealing pixie kitten girl that he introduces her to in the club at the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a fun character, and you get introduced to her sister, but you still never get the satisfaction of seeing her character arc, because her sister's a little bit harder, a little bit more rough around the edges, and she was kind of fun, savvy, and her arc just, it's not the same.
Yeah.
TK is super annoying, but one of the funniest scenes is when TK is getting hit with golf balls. And I don't want to spoil it, but there is a scene where TK is just getting blasted with golf balls, and it's pretty hilarious. It's, I think, episode 7. And the churro thread is fine. Yeah, it's cool, but it never comes to fruition. A lot of stuff is very obvious. If you don't know what's going on in this show, you've never seen a TV show before.
Okay.
It's you know what's going to happen. Oh, wow, that person randomly introduces themselves to this person. I wonder what's going to happen with this person now. Okay. And then it's just very obvious all the way through. Outside of that, the action was fun. Like I said, the brother Charles is fun to watch. He does a really good job. Michelle Yeoh is always phenomenal. It's hard to find a flaw in any of her performances. I love Blood Boots. Blood Boots is great.
Blood Boots, yeah.
Yeah.
I love his accent because I can't tell if he's British, American, or Chinese. I cannot tell. I'm legit. His accent is so confusing to me as I'm watching. I was like, is he British? Is he Chinese? Is he American? This is the way he talks. But yeah, right. he was my favorite character throughout the series, I think, outside of Charles. The Korean spa scene is one of the cooler scenes in most of TV as far as karate is concerned. Outside of that, popcorn and beer from me.
Popcorn and beer.
Pop and beer across the board. But Jordan, you wanted to watch a Kevin Smith movie. And
I picked Dogma. It's a movie that I'd seen growing up in bits and pieces most of the time. It's a shocking movie. It's a controversial movie. I mean, I hadn't seen this in a long time. So I tried to get my wife to watch this with me, and she never bought it. She couldn't buy in from the beginning, struggled about halfway through it. And then once the poop monster happened, the poop demon, she was all the way out. She's just like, all right, I'm going to go do other things. I got chores to do.
I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, she was totally out. It's a fast paced, super dialogue heavy movie, which Salma Hayek is great in this movie, but just how quick paced the dialogue is, I couldn't understand a lot of what she was trying to say.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah. It was, everyone.
She says schmucks twice. Someone wrote that for you. You didn't. It's not organic at all.
It's her favorite word.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and it's not just her though, but everyone's dialogue is a little fast and a little garbled, and they're trying to say a lot, and it's some complex biblical idea, theories and things going on. It's a little hard to follow at times. Q from Practical Jokers, if you're a Practical Jokers fan, he is in the background of the airport scene. He's a friend of Kevin Smith. Wow. So fun little Easter egg for you.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I caught it. Yeah, I don't know what frame of mind I was in to where I laser focused in on him in the background. I'm like, hey, look, it's the Practical Jokers guy.
You were Will Ferrell from Elf. I know him.
Yeah. Lots of big cameos, comedians. George Carlin is the Pope, or not the Pope, sorry, the Cardinal. Chris Rock, Alanis Morissette is God. The God thing with the way they played that with Alanis Morissette, it was a bit much too. At the end, it's a very good climactic scene happening, and then I'm just like, what? That's how they did that, huh? All right. Some of the effects are good. Most of them are pretty dated, but overall, gosh, this is such a popcorn movie. It's such just like but the dialogue is good. It's good. It's a very adventurous kind of bold reach. It's so I'm gonna give it a popcorn and 1.
Pop in 1. I give it a popcorn and 1 as well. Yeah, there was a lot that made me laugh throughout, and it's just like there's some nostalgia pieces to it as well.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
We went through 5 Adams, was very funny. At the very beginning, there's a lot of subtitles or I guess caption to read prior to the film starting, like a chapter, and you're just reading, and it ends with, and also God has a sense of humor. Just look at the platypus. P.S. We'd like to apologize to any platypus enthusiasts that we may have offended. So I think that part was ahead of its time. I do.
Yeah.
When they put all that like ahead of time, like, yo, this is just supposed to be funny. If you're going to get offended by it, it wasn't our intention. It's literally just for humor. We wrote this movie to be edgy and to be funny, and that was its purpose. And we think even God would laugh at it. I think Kevin Smith is Catholic. Like, I actually think he is Catholic. I don't think he's atheist.
I would assume he's at least soft Catholic, yeah.
Okay.
Soft Catholic.
He's a soft Catholic.
You know what I mean.
The Alan Rickman, R.I.P. Alan Rickman, super smooth Alan Rickman showing his private parts.
Yeah.
To the leads saying, I can't you. I have no penis.
He's just Ken.
He's Ken, exactly. He's just Ken. There's a lot of satire in the movie as well. And if you're not like paying attention or listening, you'll miss it. There's so much satire and so much political and current climate commentary throughout the movie, and it just shows you, like, man, this world is so cyclical. We don't know how to move forward because we refuse to learn from the past. Because I teased Josh yesterday. I was like, Josh, look, isn't it funny how they were? Or yesterday, I teased Josh last week when we filmed Trojan War. Isn't it funny how that generation had the same issues as others have with this next generation? It doesn't change. We don't learn anything. We don't grow. We don't evolve. We just complain and piss and moan about the same things instead of having growth. And movies are trying to show us this. And you could pick out pieces that are happening in movies now from older movies, and you're like, why can't we grow? Why can't we evolve? And I love the satire in Dogma that talks about, like, it alludes to this. Chris Rock was funny, of course. Ben Affleck, he embraced that role, especially when he got to start just destroying people. He gets to shoot his best friend. Yeah. Hilarious. For me, overall, it's going to be a popcorn and 1. Josh, what about you?
I think, boys, I'm going popcorn and 2 is what I think is going to happen. Might be a little bias behind that. However, that's why we're here, I guess, right? Kevin Smith, I think this is his most Kevin Smith film. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's not my favorite Kevin Smith, but I think this might be his best one. Altogether, pound for pound, celebrity power inside of it, everything.
Better than Clerks?
Well, it's definitely better than Clerks. Anyway, Dogma. I liked it. I liked it a lot, dude. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon did a pretty dang good job. They had their own little storyline, folks. If you haven't seen the movie, you're an idiot. There's everyone else. And everyone else was
or maybe
funny.
You're new to movies and you're just exploring older movies. Thanks so much for joining us and listening to the podcast.
Trademark. Hashtag. I'm old. Sorry. I'm old.
No, maybe just try to avoid calling the audience a bunch of idiots.
I like negative reinforcement. That's my style.
If we can help it. No, it's okay.
Anyway.
I think I said, if you don't like Michelle Banks, then I don't like you a while back. So.
Yeah.
So I think
I actually pulled that and put it in the front. But Dogma is a great movie. It does have some dialogue. I didn't realize the right way to say it until you said it, Jordan. It's a little smushed in. They're trying to there's a lot of rules involved, and they're trying to, like, explain the rules and, like, make sure you understand the whole rubric of why the movie is the movie. But I say popcorn and 2 because I am biased. I love Kevin Smith, even though he's maybe a clunker, or half of a movie is a clunker, or whatever. He's always edgy. Has there ever been a movie like this before? This is a very unique film, and that's why I give it its praise for the most part. Like the boardroom scene. I like all the dialogue. Kevin Smith, like, why can't they have a black prophet guy? And then the whole Jesus was black thing, I think just because of age, it's not as funny. It was very funny at the time. And it's still funny, but like Jesus was black is like such a, like every year it trends for some reason. It just blows up again in the internet. Anyway.
There was a show on Midnight Swim called Black Jesus.
Yeah.
Funny show.
Yeah.
So I go popcorn and 2 boys. Love it.
All right.
Yeah,
that's fair. Go ahead, Jordan.
Just what I left out of my review is super powerful scene is that the best acted scene is when they're in the parking garage and he's doing you're talking about waging war on God between Affleck and Damon. It's like, wow, that's some powerful, heavy stuff there. You can really see the crazy in Affleck's eyes.
Yeah. He had a good crazy. My name is Earl Guy. I liked him.
My name is Earl Guy. Isn't it Jason Lee?
Yeah, Jason Lee. I love him in everything he does. Jason Lee is like awesome.
Sleepy Chan.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck would act together more because I think they have phenomenal chemistry together.
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, it really is. Let's get to what we were watching from the week. I will go ahead and kick us off. I watched all 8 episodes of The Blue-Eyed Samurai. It was a show that Josh recommended to us a while back on Popcorn and Beers. And I just, I got into it. I was doing some work, and I let it play, and it was a really fun show. Very graphic anime. So if you're somebody thinking about watching it with children, don't, because there is a lot in this anime. Essentially, it is the story of, if you are familiar with Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, a gaijin. Before, remember that's what they called her? Because it was a half-blood or a mudblood. Whatever, if you're a Harry Potter fan. And it is a samurai that is basically white and Japanese. And that is what gave the samurai the blue eyes. And throughout this, you learn the samurai story, and you learn that not everything is as it seems fairly quickly. You learn that racism and xenophobia are not new to this world. These are things that have been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. And this just takes it to Japan in a way that's very graphic and in your face, but still very fun animation. I'm not a huge fan of anime, and I thought that this was digestible. It wasn't like insane, like Kamehameha. Like it wasn't like that. It was It was watchable for me. So I think the average person that's not super into anime and all the goofiness that comes with it is really going to like this. It was adult programming. I give it a pop 2. It will have a second season, and we'll see how that goes. But pop 2, very interesting, good storylines. Almost like I wished it was live action, if that makes sense.
Netflix is doing some good work. Whoever they're teaming up with, the animation studios, because like the Castlevania series is pretty bomb, and they've got more. But yeah, Blue Eyed Samurai, beautiful.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was fun to watch, and I'm glad that I turned it on. And I'm glad I took Josh's recommendation saying, hey, it's beautiful, it's good to watch, and it's got a good storyline. Powered through 8 episodes of that. And I agree with Josh, popcorn and 2. Josh, what were you watching this week?
Ooh, I watched Good Grief with Dan Levy.
Good Grief. Charlie Brown?
Yeah, it's about Charlie Brown. Dan Levy plays Charlie Brown. No, it doesn't. But it's 3 main characters. The guy from
Good Grief, Josh.
The guy from Yesterday is the best friend, and then also, I'm going to say it, Ruth Nega is in it. She's the lady, you might know her from Preacher.
You did a great job.
There's an E there. Anyway, you might know her from Preacher. She's the big-eyed woman who looks kind of Creole-ish, and she is just fantastic in Preacher. And then she's a thick New Orleans accent, but then switch over to this, and she's got a Irish accent. I hope I'm not saying Scottish. Maybe it's Irish. I don't know why I can't tell sometimes. Anyway, it's Scottish. She has a Scottish accent. Wow.
Did she do well in it?
That's not the point of this movie at all. She did great. Everyone did great. The point of this movie is it's really, honestly, really good movie. It's very sweet, very wholesome, very deep, and very sad. It's about grief. The main character, Dan Levy, he loses his husband pretty quickly in the movie. Is it what?
Is it Good Grief?
Oh boy, buddy. What do we talk about? Okay, it's a great movie. He loses his husband pretty quick, Dan Levy, and then the movie starts off with the best friends crowding around and like helping through the grieving process. But they smartly skip that part. They skip ahead a whole year, and then now there's more movie, and I can't really spoil anything after that. But it's just so well done. Everyone is so honest to their character. Every character's done really well. Little weird note. Seems like everyone's gay in this. Is that how it goes when you're? I don't know. Anyway, beautiful stories, great dialogue. It's a little bit long, but you like the characters so much you don't really care that much. Dan Levy is an incredible writer, actor, director, and can I just say, also a very pretty man.
I think it shows that his father was probably a fox when he was younger. We only know him, like you said, as the goofy Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
But as he's gotten older, I mean, he's a good looking older man, pretty dapper dude.
For sure. I went into this thinking it was just going to be some kind of sad rom-com because I hadn't seen the trailer or anything. I just saw the picture and just, that looks like a sad rom-com. But it's not really a rom-com at all. There's romance, of course, but mostly it's an honest look at grief and different cycles of it and different stories. So each one of the three characters has their own version of that, and you don't see it all right away on the surface, except for Dan Levy. He goes through his process of grief, and I've not trying to get too personal, but I've gone through quite a few things that I've had to grieve, and this, I think it's very honest and very true to life. So there's just a couple quotes I want to say. I paraphrased this just so you don't have to know the context of what he's saying. But he says, it's like a pain in your chest that never goes away, and you somehow find ways to not feel it as much because you just want to be able to breathe the way you did before. And I think that hit me real hard, man. I almost started tearing up. Wow. And then there's a thing about where he doesn't paint anymore.
If you teared up.
Oh, no, I did tear up for sure, but that one almost got me like instant. But there's a part, light spoiler, he doesn't paint anymore, and someone he's talking to says, you should paint more. Reminds me of my mom. Well, whatever. And so he says, I'm too tired for masochism. I don't want to paint because it reminds me of mom. It hurts. But then the guy says this. He says, isn't art a commemoration of pain? Where does it go otherwise? And I'll tell you where it goes. Ooh. Alcohol. Anyway, honestly, a very beautiful, beautiful film. I loved it. I give it a popcorn and 3. I'd watch it again. I'd show everyone.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. You like films that make you think or hit you. You really like a film that you can relate to. So I can see that being something for you. The second it hits you in a place where you're like, dang, I can really feel where these characters are coming from. I think that's very close to your I understand.
Yes, for sure. But I don't think I'm unique in having lost family members and or romantic partners, and we've all had our grief.
No, you're the only one.
One of the things that's really deep, and this is to your point. One of the characters, his grief is just like being alone. You know what I mean? And the way that hits is really powerful. Anyway, popcorn 3.
Mm-hmm. Pop plus 3, and you'd recommend it.
I would honestly recommend it, and you might not think it's a 3, but you'll definitely think it's a 2.
Okay, I like it, and I like Dan Levy, and I love. Obviously, we've all talked about how each one of us has an affinity for help me out, Schitt's Creek, and we all really enjoyed that show. We all laughed at that show. We thought it was really well written, so I'm not surprised that he went on to do another movie this time that was really good for Netflix, and I'm not surprised that Netflix reached out to him.
He's going to be a killer.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, no comment. I agree.
All right. Well, what were you watching then?
What was I watching? So I watched What If Season 2 on Disney Plus. It is the Marvel animated series about what if such and such happened. What if Captain America didn't become Captain America, instead it was Peggy Carter, that sort of thing. And they have a real affinity for the whole Peggy Carter storyline. It must have grabbed a lot of attention from the first season. So they really, they can't seem to come up with scenarios other than ones that involve Peggy Carter and the Guardians of the Galaxy. That kind of seems to be their bread and butter.
That was the theme this season, I've noticed. I'm only 2 episodes in, but lots of Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
The animation is fantastic. It's really good. The voice acting is great. The cameos. I don't know if they're getting the actual actors to do a lot of these voices, but the people that are playing them are damn close, and they do a really good job of matching their inflections and all that. The overall scenarios aren't really the most creative, as I kind of alluded to. It's certainly down from the first season as far as like the reaches that they're going for to pull you into. There's a couple episodes that are really, really good, though.
I liked the Nebula episode. I thought that was fun. I thought that was creative when they shut down, what was it, Xandar?
No, yeah.
Was attacking. I thought that was creative. I thought it was kind of cool. What would happen if you locked yourself out from the world, right? If you trapped yourself in a dome and no one could get through, what would happen? Society would fall apart. We need each other. We need to reach out. We need to grow. I thought that was the underlying theme of that episode.
Yeah, they turn it. It's a whole like a detective noir thing that they kind of turn it into with Nebula. That was a good one. And there's when they talk about the character Kahori, the native girl who gets the powers.
Yeah. Tell me about her.
You'll get there. She's pretty neat. Yeah, okay. She's pretty neat.
Is she neato?
She's pretty neat. It's an interesting concept, just because all the historical reference and all that. Pretty badass. She's pretty badass. And
so what's your hierarchy? Is neat better than badass, or is badass like because you've now upgraded her from neat to badass, and I just need to know which one. Well,
she starts off neat, and then progresses to a badass. They don't just start off as badass.
Okay, she worked her way up from neat to badass.
Yeah. She's got a good storyline. And the thing about this season is the episodes all kind of connect in different odd ways. Yeah, Strange Supreme comes back from the first season. The evil Strange didn't learn his lesson. So the action is good. The dialogue, though, like the voice acting is good, but the dialogue isn't always great. It's pretty corny, even for Marvel standards. But so I give this season a popcorn and 1.
You know what my favorite Marvel show as of late has been? She-Hulk. I really enjoyed She-Hulk, and I rewatch it. It was just the most edgy show they've done in a while, and they had fun dialogue. Like Daredevil doing the Walk of Shame's hilarious.
Yes.
Like Amadeus Chow. Like there's Megan Thee Stallion and She-Hulk twerking in her office. Like it was fun. Like I want more of that. Yeah, yes, exactly. Like I want more of that stuff. I don't want the corny dialogue.
Sorry,
that was. I liked Miss Marvel.
Well written dialogue. Miss Marvel was good. Or the Marvels, you mean?
I liked Miss Marvel, but I didn't like the Marvels now. The movie.
It took me a lot to get into Ms. Marvel. Like she was hard to buy, and now I think Kamala Khan is my favorite out of those 3. So.
She's just got so much like joy fireworks in her face. Like she's just let's go. Come on. You're
She's neat. She's neat.
She's neat. She's reached the neat level. We're close. We're close to adding the O.
Yeah, popcorn and 1 that season there.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished The House of Usher on Netflix. It's Mike Flanagan. He does a bunch of these Netflix kind of horror series. He's kind of, I don't want to say like, he's kind of making what American Horror Story should be, but most of them are kind of British. So I don't know if I don't want to. This season is definitely American based. It's really good. It's based on Edgar Allan Poe's short story. You know, it's kind of like making a deal with the devil, how that goes wrong. The cast is great. It's a lot of the same characters from the other shows. But this one, you get Mark Hamill, and he is really good. He's really good in this. There's a reference to Donald Trump making it, saying that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. And there's a reference to that about how he made a deal with the devil that he could do that and get away with it and still be elected president. So I thought that was a good little gem that they dropped in there. It's pretty interesting. It's a very graphic show. It tries to be a little too outrageous at times. It really reaches for that controversy. Some of the deaths were just so far fetched and just tried to be made into a spectacle when it could have just been handled a lot simply and just move the story along.
Kill him already.
Yeah,
Why is it got to be extravagant?
yeah, it's too much. It's too much sometimes. It's a legit scary show.
Okay.
It's got some death jump scares, the good gore, the psychological kind of stuff. It's got a little bit of all of the elements of a good horror.
Hill
The
House was like that. Hill House was good. Bly Manor not as scary, but Hill
yeah,
House was pretty scary.
his last one, the Midnight Mass, I really like that for like a vampire flick. I hope I'm not spoiling anything there,
You did.
but
You did.
eh,
You did. Nope, didn't know it until just now.
the finale is masterful. It's in connecting it to the real world, like outside, breaking the fourth wall a little bit.
Okay.
It's really good. I give this a popcorn and 2.
Poppin' 2. Okay, so you recommend House of Usher.
Yes. Yeah.
It sounds like you recommend Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass was really good. I really like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. I watched Dave Chappelle, which you reviewed last week, and I'll just say that I agree with about 95% of what you said about it, but there were just some funny lines. I mean, he's just got a delivery to a lot of times where he's saying something that's just not that funny. He still says things in ways that you're like, like you get an audible chuckle out of some of the things he says.
A little bit of a chuckle.
Yeah. Everyone I've talked to, friends and all that, they're like, this is great. Oh my God, he's the best. Like, he's fantastic. And I have to be like, it's okay. And the thing that really sets him up, I think, for failure is his reference in the beginning to Killing Him Softly, I believe. Mm-hmm. He references his like first or second special or something like that. And that is just one of my it's one of my all-time favorites. I'd put it in my top 5 all-time stand-up specials. I'm so nostalgic for that thing. A lot of good moments watching that 100 times. So that really set me up for like, oh man, I wish we could get a little bit of that back. I understand you can't just give the same thing over and over, but just a little bit of that.
Did we know? Is he working with Neil Brennan anymore?
I think he's on his own thing right now. I think they're still friends. His own thing,
yeah.
He's got the Blocks podcast now, and
they support each other. I know that they definitely support each other everywhere. But like when the two of them were writing together, it was just like everything slapped. Like Neil Brennan was a writer on the Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
Like everything they did just slapped. They were so good together. Mm-hmm. And now I feel like honestly, like controversial take, Neil Brennan is funnier than Dave Chappelle. But
he's definitely a better writer. He's got a writer kind of sense of humor, which is that's fine because all of SNL is all writers too. You know what I mean? But I agree. Neil Brennan, his Blocks comedy special, fantastic.
Very good.
Three Mics is also good.
Yeah. Three Mics is great. Yeah.
Three Mics is up there. I think that's one of my favorite comedy specials ever. And it's just the originality and the difficulty of it. Just it's good.
Yeah. I give it a popcorn and 1. I can't bring myself to give Dave just a popcorn. It's good. That's the thing. He's masterful in his delivery.
Fair enough.
It's a popcorn and 1. Yeah.
He's got timing.
And last but not least, I got to see The Iron Claw. And boy, this was a masterpiece. If I had seen this a couple weeks ago, it would have been very much in the running to say this is the best movie I've seen all year. So I can almost say fairly confident this is going to be one of the best movies I'm going to see this year. Zac Efron, his character is just kind of a meathead. For like most of the movie, you're like, he's not really doing much here. He's just kind of being like a Mr. Magoo type muscle man. But towards the end, when it gets heavy, and trust me, this movie is heavy. It's a real tearjerker, rough to watch, but they really bring it together towards the end to put a positive spin on what's the main guy. There's David, is the brother, Carrie's the brother, the main one, Kevin Von Erich. What he goes through is horrible. But just the way,
correct?
The father, yeah, he's a real piece of garbage. Not that bad, but just a very hard man and a very unempathetic man.
It's the times, man. It's the times. You gotta. We got to stop like, oh, it was so no, the time capsule. You
Well,
can't just move the goalposts.
yes,
the times
but
were
also
different.
yes, but also those men still exist.
Yeah, no, yes, hyper abusive. I'm not defending him. I'm saying we have to view it through the lens of the time. Like in the time, was he abusive? Absolutely. Was what he thought he was doing right and probably passed down from his father?
Yes.
What not right? Pardon me. Was what he doing? Did he think it was right? Did he think this was the way to make his kids better?
With also, I mean, you can like generalize it like that, but also he was a show business dad. Like that's,
Yeah.
you can't apply that to everybody. He's just a piece of crap show business dad, like up there, Joe Jackson type.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that much about Joe Jackson, but from what I do know, it's probably very similar to this. From what I've heard. But man, everyone's great. Jeremy Allen White is really good, but from what I've seen in interviews, when they approached him to play this role, he's like, dude, I'm like 6 inches shorter than the real Carrie Von Erich, who actually had the most success of all of the Von Erichs, despite I mean, I don't know if you know the story or not behind the Von Erichs. I don't know if I'm spoiling anything. Despite only having one foot, despite losing a foot, he actually went on to be, WWF champion, and but of course, it all ends in tragedy. Fantastic movie. Zac Efron really brings you into some emotion towards the end. You're like, wow, he's really, really good.
I heard he's really ripped too in this movie.
Oh yeah. He's just he looks like an inflated, like someone stuck a bicycle pump in his muscles and just he looks inflated, dude.
Like Rocky,
Popcorn in 3.
Sylvester Stallone comes out in Rocky 3, like that style jacked up. When you go from like Rocky 2 to Rocky 3,
not as vascular, just inflated, just very inflated. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's cut though too, like his physique in Baywatch, which was also a different kind of phenomenal. He did say in interviews many times that he was kind of in a bad mental space, and he's probably never going to do that again. And he did seemingly more this time around. So that shows the dedication or need for therapy in this actor. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Best movie
really
of the
good
year
guy.
So far, you think? You think it's got a shot at Best Picture?
No, definitely not. But no, it doesn't. Nah, I don't. Is it nominated?
I think it will be.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean,
Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon are the favorites right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna. Yeah. It's a small fish, I think. But great movie still. I would put it up there as good as those, better than Killers of the Flower Moon in my opinion. But Oppenheimer.
I thought Killers of the Flower Moon was better than Oppenheimer. So there.
Really? Well, all right. Yeah,
I just thought it was no. I thought Oppenheimer was great. Obviously, both movies were great, but I thought Christopher Nolan was a bit gratuitous with some of the things he was doing in Oppenheimer, whereas Scorsese, he just has a subtle way about some of the stuff he does. De Niro is still, when he doesn't have to do goofy things on film, he's just an amazing actor. Like when he doesn't get asked to do the stuff he was asked to do in The Irishman, when he could just sit there and act, and Leo can just sit there and act. And Lily Gladstone can just sit there and act. Like, that movie was great. Not that Cillian Murphy wasn't great. It's just different, if that makes sense, when you're watching Christopher Nolan's film versus Martin Scorsese's film.
Yeah, you're entitled to your own wrong opinion.
Oh! I mean, I think at the end of the day, you're going to be right. I think at the end of the day, Oppenheimer will win Best Picture. And what I was actually doing was bringing up the odds on GoldDerby.com as we were chatting to see if the Iron Claw is even on there, and it's not. It's not even.
It's a
listed.
shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, it's not top 10s. 24. It's ranked. It's behind Wonka.
Oh God.
Yeah,
oh.
That doesn't make much sense to me at all. That doesn't make much sense to me at all. But yeah, your top 8. We do 8 now, right? Is it 8 films that get nominated now?
Seems like a lot.
I think it's 8. Right now you've got Oppenheimer is 1, Killers of the Flower Moon, Barbie, Poor Things, Holdovers, Maestro, American Fiction, which I cannot wait to see because it's got Jeffrey Wright in it, and I think he's fantastic.
It's great.
And then Past Lives. So that's what we're looking at right now. Thank you for that rousing applause. You gave me a lot coming out of our announcement. Lots going on. You just seem bored as we're a film show that reviews movies, and I'm talking about the Oscars, and you're like, bring out Rambo.
Yeah.
Where is Rambo on the list?
There's not enough guns.
All right, so a pop 3 though for you.
Yes, very much a pop 3.
Would you watch it again?
Yes. Okay. It's a tough watch though, but yeah, it's got enough good and heart and all that in it to where I could definitely watch this again. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to hear because I'm really excited about that movie. The other movie I'm very excited about is this week's Butter on Top. We are watching Poor Things, and we are all going to be able to see it this week, so I'm very excited about that. Emma Stone is the favorite right now on Gold Derby to be Best Actress based on this film, and Mark Ruffalo is competing. It's a 2-horse race for Best Supporting Actor. You've got Robert Downey Jr. from Oppenheimer, and you've got Mark Ruffalo from Poor Things. I think that as much as I just sang Robert De Niro's praises, I don't think he's in this race. And that's just based on what I'm hearing. I haven't seen Poor Things yet about Mark Ruffalo's performance. Jordan, you look like you had something to add.
No, I don't.
Okay, but Josh does, because this week is Josh's Drunk Classic.
That is correct. It is my drunk classic, and I'm not sure. It's been a little while, but do you remember, Fry, when I said, "I get you for this"? Because you made us watch that garbage Trojan War. But I think I'm going to change my mind. Because I know. It's really I'm really going to give you a gift. I'm going to give you a gift. I'm pretty sure neither one of you have seen this movie, although you must. So I've had this in my pocket for a while. This is the perfect time to release it. I don't know why. 1984. Going back to 1984. Back when the hip-hop game was at its peak. This movie has Ice-T in it, just so you know. You want to hear
I know what movie it is.
Want to hear my Ice-T impression? It goes like...
Oh, I know what movie it is already. I know what movie it is.
Yeah, it used to be a cop on TV. That's my Ice-T. All right, so since you already know about it... I know. Since you already know, I'm going to go ahead and say... Yeah, he's in Law and Order.
Yeah.
We're going to go with a movie that you're going to have to buy into. If you're going to enjoy it, buy all the way in and really just sit down and enjoy the show. We're watching Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Nice.
I was wrong, by the way. I was going to guess wrong. But Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo. I have seen bits and pieces. I've not seen the whole film, but I have seen bits and pieces of it. Did we count that for Jordan when he had seen bits and pieces of Boogie Nights but never seen it all the way through?
It was like a half. I think we gave him a half.
Yeah, do I get a half a hash?
Yeah.
So it's Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. You might remember that from... The Electric Boogaloo thing was like an ongoing joke for a little while last year. I don't know why. Yeah. The main character, R.I.P.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on it.
Yeah. On the...
Boogaloo Shrimp?
On Boogaloo Shrimp?
Electric Boogaloo.
You mean this movie?
The filmmakers, the people that produce these films, because a lot of Stallone films were included in this as well. And the Electric Boogaloo producers phenomenon is they were from Europe, I want to say, and they were coming over and just throwing a bunch of money and getting people they were pitching these movies and getting a lot of people to pitch in money. So you got Over the Top, Cobra, Commando was a part of this Electric Boogaloo movement. Lots of just movies that were just cheddar were thrown into this electric. It's a documentary. It's called Electric Boogaloo. It's on
really
Netflix, I want to say.
And these people are attached to this movie. They got this movie made.
They're attached to tons of movies, tons, and it was just them. They were just apparently great salespeople from Europe, and they would just pitch the hell out of these terrible movies and get people to invest all kinds of money in these movies, and then they get these terrible movies made.
Okay, well, it's not a terrible movie. It might be. You're going to see some old-ass dance moves.
It's not a terrible movie. It might be.
Like I said, you got to buy all the way in, and it's actually kind of funny that way. If you do that. All right. Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
All right, deal. All right, so that makes our Butter on Top, Poor Things, starring Emma Stone. And then our drunk classic is going to be Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
It's on Max.
Thank you so much for joining us each and every week. As always, you can reach us where, Jordan?
Popcorn and Beer on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Formerly known as Twitter. We will see you at the movies.